Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. We are here with the BMW X3. This is an M version, so it's got the cool, seats, that cool little door seals or door trim pieces. So good old BMW. This is going to be an 07 X3 30 SI. This model is the same across the board for actually a couple different cars. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down in the drop down tab for info of what's actually going on here. So if you are driving and you have an issue where it starts stumbling, of course you're going to get the good old-fashioned check engine light, and it starts riding or driving really rough, starts idling harshly. More than likely what has failed is going to be an ignition coil. These things are notorious for it, especially this thing's pretty old. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get into, well, first off, check the codes. So I have accessory power on, engine's not running. I have hooked into the OBD 2 port with my scanner. So we are going to check the codes. Let this thing read a little bit. Go ahead, read codes. I'm going to read stored codes. Check for pending codes. Permanent codes. Okay, so it looks like I accidentally just deleted them. Don't worry, they'll come back. And as you can even hear it too. So let this run for a second, let it pick up on the codes. I'll go back to the main menu here. Let it re-register it. And there it is again. Check engine light. Yes, I know, I'm low on washer fluid. This is actually because of a headlight bulb. That's because I have the door open, and then obviously I don't have my seatbelt on. So, check engine light is on again. This is the current mileage on the car, 143,000 miles, that is. So I'm gonna turn the car off, put it back in accessory mode. Go ahead, go down here. This time I'll read codes. Pending codes. And then what I'm gonna do, this is one module. It's probably going to be broken down into engine if it's not in stored codes. Go back, run down to engine, read codes, check out the stored. And it looks like here we have a P304, which is going to be cylinder 4 misfire. I'm going to assume that the codes are set in order, so I'm going to say a P301 is probably cylinder 1 misfire, P302 is probably cylinder 2 misfire, P0303 is cylinder 3, P0304 would be cylinder 4, P0305 would be cylinder 5, and P0306 would be cylinder 6. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, keep that on. I'm going to go through, and it's going to give you a quick description of what's going on. Faulty ignition coils, opener short in the ignition coil circuit, poor or contaminated connection at ignition coil, clogged or faulty injectors, or opener short to fuel injectors. Since this thing is at 143K and it's an 07, I'm going to say it's safe to assume more than likely it's a coil issue, which by chance I already have one. Good old Bosch. That is the part number right there. I just picked this thing up from Advance Auto, $82 or $81.99. If you buy them online, you can get them 10% off. I suggest doing all 6, but I've already replaced 2 in the past. This is the 3rd one. That's why I'm highly leaning on the ignition coil. So I'll go through now that I've read them. Go back. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to erase the codes currently, because honestly this is actually a pretty easy setup. So that's done. I'm going to go ahead and shut that down. I'll keep that puppy hooked in for now. Well, here, I'll unplug it. So we're gonna go on over to put this thing on here. How to read cylinder orientation. So cylinder orientation is from the front of the motor, front bumper. You got cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, cylinder 5, and cylinder 6 way back there against the firewall. So cylinder 1 and 2 are fresh. These are recently replaced. Cylinder 3, 4, 5, and 6 are old. So I need to access 4, which is right here behind this little nice little centric motor setup. All you gotta do with these is literally, it's pretty simple. You flip it up, you'll watch it push the connector off, unplug the connector, make sure the connector's still good, the wiring's fine, and then you literally grab the loop. I mean, you might have to twist it a little bit depending on how hard it's in there. You literally just pull up on it and it'll pull up out. Then you can actually inspect the boot on it. You can make sure there's no oil contaminating the edges of it. Install, same setup. I usually keep that tab up. It doesn't really matter for during install. Basically push it back down. You'll feel it seat. Once you feel it seat, take the connector, push it back in as far as you can by hand, and then you'll watch this latch will actually slowly close. If you watch the connector, it'll suck in. And there you go. Now it's locked in place. Obviously, I don't need to replace that one. I need to replace cylinder 4, which is right on the left side of this motor. So I'll do the same over here. Maybe you might be able to see it better from here. Same setup. Pick up on it. Try to pull it up out of there, which this is kind of a tough spot, so I'm just going to wiggle my arm through there. I'm a skinny guy though, so I can get in here. I'll use this motor as leverage. I'll put my thumb on it, pull back, give it a twist, from left to right, pull up on it, disconnect the plug. I'll probably put that thing down there, and I'll probably pull it just straight up out. You might want to keep the metal sleeves in there, so if that does slide back up, push it back down in. And take our new coil. Ooh, so fresh. So you can tell that the new one is basically black right here on the inside connector piece. The old ones are more, well, they're kind of covered in dust, so you'll be able to know. So this is an old one. This is the new one. Bosch, Germany, Bosch 050, 050. So obviously it's the same thing. You can even reference the part number on this if you can read it, but this is probably an old part number that was superseded by a new version. So new coil, 3-prong, basically same installs, the same as removal. Get it up in here. I'm gonna put the tab down for now so I can wiggle this puppy in here. Same thing, try to get down in here and line it up with that hole. Let things drop in. I'll push this tab back up, wiggle it in there, get back into my little sweet spot, and get it down past. Make sure it's seated up against these grooves. That way it's making full contact with the plug. Same thing, check the plug, check the wiring, make sure it's good. Reinstall, it only goes on one way. So you're gonna push that connector back on. Sorry if you can't see it, but you basically push it back on to where it starts to catch. Once it starts to catch, you should be able to use, I'm going to disconnect this centric motor, pull this thing back up a little bit. Basically what you can do, you can use that and it will actually latch into the coil itself, and then the coil will pull the harness into it. And then, since this one's so tight, I'm going to seat the coil, the connector first, and then lock the coil on, plug this motor. If you don't plug this motor in or accidentally disconnect this, I've actually done it before when I did 1 and 2, because originally it was 1 and 3, so I swapped 3 and 2, and when I came back I actually actually this was already loose and I disconnected it all the way. This will fire, you will fire it on and it'll give you an EML light along with the check engine light, and it'll only limit it to like 5 miles an hour, which sucks, by the way. So definitely keep that plugged in. That's on. Locked. So we know now on this motor you got 1, 2, and 4 are new, 3, 5, and 6 are old. So one of those is going to be next. It's easier just to replace the whole set. There is a set on FCP Euro, but honestly the way this thing's been going, we've just been slowly replacing, piece by piece. So I'll put this up here by the air box with the cabin air filter and cruise on over this way. We'll give it a fire up, and there should be no codes now. Let it run through its test cycle. Smooth as butter, or as smooth as butter can be with the BMW anyways. Everything is good. I'll let it run for a little bit, and that's pretty much it. The biggest way I drove this thing to work last night. Normally I'll take the Civic or the Subaru. I'll take the Mustang sometimes, but I don't really like Mustangs like that. I've probably said that a couple times on the channel, but the exhaust note is a solid sound. When it starts misfiring, it'll start breaking up, almost like a cammed sound. It'll almost sound cammed, but it's obviously not cammed. It is your normal standard BMW X3. I mean, it is in good shape, but BMW problems. It is, I would definitely recommend a actual reader, not like a little Walmart reader. It probably will work, but these things actually give me live data as well, if you know how to read it. This one, I'll put this down in the description below too. This is a FoxWell NT301. This thing actually does pretty good. You can actually get these with software for specific car makes. For me, it didn't make sense because I mess with all sorts of different things like the Subaru, the Civic, the Genesis, the Mustang I'll mess with every now and then. And then obviously the BMW. I almost got the software for BMW just because I know how sensitive BMW is with a lot of their electronics, but I never actually went full in depth with that, so I kind of just left it alone. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. And if you just came here for the firing order, there you go. I'll probably make a whole nother video on just the firing order, just so people have an easier go-to method for that, because when I tried to find it, I had to like Google it, and it pulled up like 4 different versions. 2 of them were completely different. One was from the firewall back, 1 started at the firewall, 6 ended at the front, and then the other ones were 1 starts at the front, 6 ends at the back. Obviously 1 is front. I got that verified from BMW, so yes, 1 is the front, 6 is the firewall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, in order. But that's gonna probably be it for this video, guys. Hopefully it could help. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll try to answer as best as I can. I do mess with this thing pretty frequently, so I do know a lot of the common issues with it and a lot of the common fixes for it. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Thought I'd throw some BMW content out there since I haven't really made any videos on this, and I've already done a couple things to it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and also stay tuned. I did start ordering parts for the Genesis motor, so I'm not gonna say too much about it, but it is gonna be a full build. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Peace. And also, if you aren't already, subscribe to the channel below, and definitely make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see when I upload new videos onto the channel. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.